how that's become like a debate. I'll say it for the people in the back. I've said it since day one when I started streaming, and even back when I was streaming on Justin TV in 2010. Streaming is by far the easiest job you can ever have. Like I think anyone in the industry will tell you that.
Yeah, you'd have to be brain dead to not think that.
There's different levels of stream.
Actually, Charlie, I think you're wrong. You're not everyone in the space will agree with that. Asmongold and Hassan, nope, they think streaming in some capacity is harder than a regular 9 to 5 job. Now, where they got that notion from, I couldn't tell you. That is to me, it's a bunch of baloney. But you know, I don't know. Maybe they really are like socially crippled in some capacity after they in stream. I've
Effort. Like there's events and shit, which is very difficult to put together. So like Cutie Cinderella Streamer Awards, any type of big event.
I mean, like, yeah, that's totally separate though.
That's a lot of moving parts.
I think we're generally talking about like start streaming.
Day-to-day streaming activities. That shit is, it's so easy. And I think everyone will agree. Playing games and getting paid for it, that is an actual dream job to every human being on the planet. Or if you're not even playing games, if you're researching whatever goofy stories, a fucking VTuber hit list or VTuber criticism hit list like this or whatever, easy stuff.
Like, I guess the only art, like, this isn't even for streaming, this is more for like YouTubers type of stuff. The YouTubers that really do serious in-depth analysis and like serious editing, is if they are the ones editing their videos, then that is actual like difficult work. Now, clicking start streaming and just going, that's not hard. Like, no part about that is hard. There's no editing involved. There's no planning involved, and except for like maybe, well, this is the stream I'm playing to, or this is the game I'm playing today, guys, or these are the videos we're watching today. Like, there's no actual planning. There's no like real. It's not hard. Like,
it's an extremely privileged position, and I think everyone knows that. To me, I think what the debate was today, and maybe I'm misunderstanding because I didn't catch up with everyone's take on it, seems more about how you feel after streaming. Like, you stream 9 hours a day, whatever, 6 to 9 hours a day.
That
and
kind
you
of
don't
was.
want to do anything after, and that sucks.
Now, the main argument was the social aspect. They were, well, Hassan started by saying that streaming after 9 hours is soul sucking. It's going to suck your soul right out of your body, where a 9 to 5 would never do such a thing. When I heard that, I like internally gasped. I like had to take a step back. I couldn't believe what I had just heard. And then he kind of backpedaled a little bit and said, actually, no, just the social aspect of streaming is what's super draining. At a job, you don't have to be social at all, right? What job did he work? Was he like a mute when he went in? That's not how jobs work. You still have to talk. Not only that, when you have a chat, you can ban anyone who disagrees with you or says something that you don't like. In real life, you have to deal with real people with real emotions, real feelings, and if they say something you don't like, you can't just ban them. You can't just kick them out. I mean, like, unless they're being totally belligerent. And normally you have a manager or something who's like kind of ruling over you. They have superiority over you, so you have to listen to them. With streaming, you have none of that. Like, having the idea that streaming is in any way harder than a 9 to 5 is extremely delusional.
And I think that's a fine take to have. I mean, it's a long time to sit just talking at people, so I can get being exhausted by the end of it.
Yeah, but when you have constant comments coming in, it's not that difficult to just read the comments. It's not a hard thing, or like, respond to comments. Like, it's not like holding a conversation with somebody. You read the comment and you respond to what like they're asking you or what they're saying to you. You're not actually having to hold a conversation with that person. So,
I think that,
which I would say is harder. Like, holding an actual conversation with a real person is definitely more difficult than responding to like random comments.
the conversation got lost somewhere along the way, because I get that. You're talking all day at people, probably just want to call it a night. Like, that makes sense. No different than working a normal job where you have to interact with like fucking customers or something all day, which is significantly more miserable. In a stream, you can ignore assholes.
My whole
In a real job, you you can't. You have to interact with
Yep.
them. So I think that
Yep.
aspect is much worse in a real job than streaming as well. But I mean, again, I get if you're streaming for a long time, you're probably not going to want to do a whole lot afterwards. You might just want to call it a night. Like, I think that's pretty understandable.
Yeah, but yes, however, going to a real job, you're going to feel the same way, if not worse, because you've been physically up, like moving stuff, doing stuff. Unless you have like a desk job, which like then, I mean, that's a different story, but still, if you have a desk job, you're probably talking to people all day. You're probably looking at paperwork all day. You still have a job, you know? So, I mean, I agree with Charlie, but like some of the, I don't know, like it can be applied to both jobs, right? Like when you get home from your real job, you don't really feel like doing something that's super draining right when you get home, just like probably with streaming, except for with streaming, you're already at home. So you just stop streaming and you're already there, except for when you get off of work, you actually have to drive home, get in your car, and commute for 45 minutes. I mean, if you're lucky, it'll be lower than that, but the average is probably like 30 minutes. So
You can't, yeah, exactly. You can't ban a bad customer. You got to talk to them. That fucking sucks. Streaming
Yeah.
had the privilege not to.
exactly.
But I think any streamer in the world would agree that it is significantly easier than working a real job.
Charlie, okay, I maybe we're in different parallel universes, but clearly there are other streamers that don't have that point of view. Clearly there are streamers that believe streaming is actually harder than real jobs, like, and they might not think that it's harder than a 9 to 5 in every aspect, but they at least think it's harder socially, which I completely disagree with, because you actually have to talk to people face to face. But like, so Charlie, what the fuck?
I think the nuance kind of went off the main path, and the conversation got really diluted.
Like, it's not just viewers saying that streaming is harder than a 9 to 5. It's streamers saying that. So I don't know what Charlie's talking about.
It seemed more about like, I stream this long, I'm not feeling like socializing anymore, and it's making me a little miserable. Because I get that. Same as working a real job. You fucking interact
That is my whole point.
with assholes all day or whatever. It's a long day at work.
The only difference is that you're making multiple family salaries in a month. So, oh, how miserable are you? Oh, wow, I just made $10,000 today. God, I hate myself. Like, what in tarnation?
You probably don't want to socialize. You might want to just kick back and go to bed. I think that's fair. That's fine. I don't think it's a matter of what's harder, because I don't think that'll ever be a competition. Yeah, but working a real job, you don't get death threats all the time like Hassan does.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, well, if Hassan doesn't want the death threats, I'll give you the solution right now. He can stop streaming. He can stop being a social media influencer in any capacity. If it really bothers him that bad, then he can just stop what he's doing and go work a regular job. And then guess what? You probably won't be getting any more death threats. So that whole argument is totally out of the window, like off rip.
Yeah, you do. That happens in the real world too, and it's much scarier because the people are face to face and unhinged. But again, like I said,
No, I would disagree with Charlie on that. I feel like in real life, it does happen in real life, but it's by no means going to be anywhere near as consistent as being like a big influencer streamer, somebody who's like has a good amount of influence. There's just no, like, somebody famous, you're going to get a lot more death threats, and you just don't know, like, the unpredictability of some people is like knows no bounds. So I could see some people staying up at night, like if you're famous, worried that somebody's going to crawl through your door and shoot you, like, shoot you or something. Like, I could see that being somebody's actual fear. Whereas in real life, I don't think people are really going around being like scared of getting shot or killed or death threats. Like, normally, right? I don't think, unless maybe you live in like What the fuck? That is crazy. Unless you live in Memphis, Tennessee, which last time I checked actually had the highest crime rate in America. So, yeah, stew on that one.
I get interacting with assholes and whatever, like it takes its toll and you don't want to do anything after. I get it. But it's not like it's still exclusive to streaming, and again, you can ignore it. It's not like you are forced to interact with each and every unhinged person in your chat. In a real job, you have to. It is your fucking job. Like, it sucks. The aspect of that happening on stream sucks, and it happening in the real world also sucks. Like,
oh, but trust me, it sucks a whole lot more in person because you actually have to deal with their backlash if, like, you cannot do something for them. Like, if they want something and you, like, just, like, cannot give them a service that they want, then it's just super awkward because then you have to deal with, like, extra questions and, like, stuff like that. Whereas on stream, if somebody says something or asks you a question that you don't want to answer, you just ignore it. Like, you can't really, I mean, I guess you could ignore it in real life, but it's going to be significantly more awkward versus on stream and probably have a more lasting impact on your life.
it doesn't need to be a competition because it's not one. It is much easier to just stream. You have significantly more luxury.
I agree.
And you're
I
paid
absolutely
much,
agree.
much better for doing what 99% of the world does for fun. You get to do as a career. So there
Exactly.
are some things that make it not cool, but those do not outweigh what makes it incredible. I've said from day one, streaming is the easiest job you can have. But I don't think that's what the conversation was today. I think everything just got real convoluted. We had a dude come into Kroger's once.
I think a lot of it has to do with streamers having no actual, like, real life issues. So they kind of create these issues in their head when there really actually is none. Like, what most people would say is, like, just being tired, being kind of worn out from a day. You know, you just had a day. It's like an actual setback, like a really big issue when they feel off because they just don't have any other problems in their life. So I'm not saying this is, like, 100% of the case, but, like, you know, they're trying to be, I don't know, relatable.
And found out it was a dude that lived in my apartment complex. That must have been so uncomfortable when you
Good God.
after he comes back from.
Well, I never thought about that. I guess people in apartment complexes might receive bomb threats. You know, if somebody above you is being, like, super loud and you're just an unhinged mother plucker, you might go up there and be like, I will kill you if you don't stop making noise. I could see something like that happening for sure.
Fucking holding.
Or if your, like, dog barks, like, okay, my neighbor threatened to kill our dog because he was barking. So yeah.
Like, hey man, sorry about the bomb threats. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't think that was Hassan's point at all. From what
somebody lives in, like, the same building in an apartment complex as you, and you're, like, above them, you're making a little bit of noise. They're like, I'm gonna blow up the building if you don't stop making noise. And you're like, go right ahead. You'll take us all out. If I'm going out, you're coming with me. And then they blow up the building or something. In game, of course.
Again, I didn't watch everyone's take on it. I just watched, like, the clip that started it, like the whole clip. To me, his take really.
Are you talking about Hassan? Did I?
That was Hassan's point at all.
Oh yeah, okay.
From what I didn't watch everyone's take on it. I just watched, like, the clip that started it, like the whole clip. To me, his take really felt like I stream so long and I don't want to socialize anymore, and it makes me feel worse than when, like, a real or like a normal job.
Well, once again, he's not really, like, starting from the beginning. I don't think Charlie really looked into this at all. Hassan started by saying that streaming is soul sucking and a 9-to-5 job isn't. And then he backpedaled, saying that streaming sucks your social skills, sucks off your social skills. And so after that, you know, however long you stream, you don't feel like talking to anyone. But then he says a 9-to-5 job doesn't, which still doesn't hold any water by any means.
But not saying that streaming is harder, just more so he doesn't like feeling drained after it. Which is fine. It's not really, like I said, it's not a competition.
I would like to see how drained he feels after a regular job, if he feels so drained after streaming.
I think him and everyone else on Twitch would agree streaming is easier than 99% of real world jobs. His point, I think, was just what I said, where you stream 9 hours talking at people, you probably don't want to do much else after that, and it eats up, like, your whole day.
What incarnate? Okay, Charlie, Jesus, mother of God, that's not the issue. Yes, after streaming for so long, you probably are going to feel drained in some capacity. You've been talking for however long. The problem is that he is saying it's harder than what a regular 9 to 5 job, like the social aspect of a regular 9 to 5 job, which is absolutely not true at all. That is the problem, not not the fact that you feel drained after streaming. It is the fact that you're comparing it to a 9 to 5 job and saying that it is worse. Like, not at all. It's so like it is so blind. It is so blind.
Just like in the real world, where you work 9 hours interacting with people, a lot of shitty people you don't want to interact with but have to because it's your job. In the real world, you can't ignore it like you can on stream, and you feel like shit after and you don't want to do anything. Like, it doesn't... The impression I got, and maybe I'm off my rocker, was not that he was trying to necessarily compare one being more difficult than the other.
What incarnation? That's exactly what he said. Let's find the clip.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Gruesome. A real job can make you very tired, but a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you. You know what I mean?
Oh, try a sales job. Oh, nah. Oh, nah. Yo.
How about any job involving working with just the general populace? Any job working with the general populace is going to drain you 100 times more than streaming. I can promise you. And if you've ever worked any job in the United States, then you can probably agree with me.
Yo. How about I...
Now, I'm not saying there's some like cherry-picked jobs that might be easy and you don't really have to interact with anyone. I'm not saying that there aren't any of those and like that there aren't actual real dream jobs in the workforce, but I'm just saying that like 95% of jobs are not going to be that. So
I match his salary for a month and he gets a sales job. Oof.
In the same way
Oh,
that
nah,
9
hold
hours
on.
of streaming absolutely will.
But not only that, another argument that I kind of liked from this whole situation was that, but streamers have the ability to end their stream. You don't have to stream for 9 hours. If you want to stream for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 12 hours, you could stream for as long as you want and end it whenever you want. With a real job, you actually have to stay there for an allotted amount of time and not leave. Surprise, surprise. Maybe some people didn't know that. Maybe some people thought that you could just leave after 2.5 hours and expect to have a job the next day, but that's not how it works. Streamers have the luxury of choosing whenever they want to work. So,
yes, a real job can be gruesome. A real job can make you very tired, but a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you. You know what I mean?
It depends what.
I think the real problem with the job like market in the US is that jobs are sucking the soul out of people, which is why so many people are like mentally unwell. That's Hassan is so like deaf in this whole situation. He is so tone deaf. It's wild.
Same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will.
My God.
The point of defense is like maybe there's like a few jobs, maybe but in the grand scheme of things, I would much rather fucking sit here on my dumbass than fucking go out there and fucking deal with dumbass fucking customers or clients or fuck assholes and bosses and shit, and you just want to fucking say, how about fuck you and go die, man. Like,
You know, this is actually one of the takes that I completely agree with XQC on. Like, there are a lot of his takes I am just completely against, but this is one of them I completely agree. Like, I would, who wouldn't want to, rather sit at home and stream to 10,000 people than go to an actual job where you have to interact with real people and like have awkward conversations and have to like do stuff for them or else you get in trouble and you have a boss who's an asshole. Like, who, no one wants to deal with that shit. So yeah, overall, horrible take from Hassan, horrible take from Asman, just generally. So yeah.